Chapter 1. 10 years with my girlfriend, 5 of them building a company together. I gave her all my money and all my love. I made her the CEO of the company, while I was content to be the unknown tech developer working in the background. I never expected that the kid she grew up with next door would show up, steal my CTO position, and even move into our home. Only later did I learn that the two of them were getting together every night after I fell asleep. Fine. I've always said I would never be a doormat. So I'll let my dear girlfriend and her precious childhood friend have a taste of the despair that comes from being abandoned by everyone and having nothing. The self-driving technology our company developed was a massive success. As the core technical lead, I was prepared to be named Chief Technology Officer at the celebration. The boss, my girlfriend, Victoria White, dragged out the suspense before loudly announcing the name of a new technician. It was Ethan Miller, the kid from next door she grew up with, a fresh college graduate who had just joined the company this year. I confronted Victoria in private, but she just said, "The CTO has to be in the public eye all the time. You wouldn't be comfortable with that." I wasn't convinced, and she grew impatient. It's so hard for women in business these days. The second you have a little success, people say you slept your way to the top. I finally got this self-driving tech off the ground, so can you please just not cause trouble for me? Suddenly I was the one causing trouble. Had she forgotten that I was the one who led the team through years of sleepless nights to develop this technology? She was burning the bridge right after crossing it. That evening, I swallowed my anger and went to the restaurant I had booked long ago. Today wasn't just the celebration for our self-driving car launch. It was also the 10th anniversary of my relationship with Victoria. But I waited there for 3 excruciating hours and she never showed. My calls went straight to voicemail. Dejected, I returned home, only to find that Victoria had brought her friend Ethan Miller back with her. The moment he saw me, Ethan put on an apologetic face. "Big C, I'm so sorry, the apartment I rented is a real dump, and I can't find a decent place on such short notice. Big W said I could crash here for a bit." "I won't be in your way, will I?" Victoria chimed in. "Exactly. How can anyone live in a place with rats?" I told Ethan to come here. We have plenty of spare rooms anyway. It's no big deal. The knot in my chest tightened. I didn't want to deal with them, so I turned and went upstairs. Perhaps noticing my foul mood, Victoria followed me. The moment she closed the door, she started laying into me. "Who are you putting on that long face for? What, do Ethan and I owe you something?" I remained silent. I had no desire to answer her. She continued, "He's my childhood friend. We grew up together. That kind of bond is the purest. He just graduated, and his major is a perfect fit. Is it so wrong for me to look out for him a little? Why are you throwing a tantrum? You're a grown man. Do I really have to coddle you?" My head was pounding. "What day is it today? What were we supposed to do tonight?" I asked her pointedly. She froze for a moment, thinking, before it finally dawned on her that today was our 10th anniversary. A flicker of embarrassment crossed her face, but it was gone in an instant. "It's just a dinner," she said dismissively. "We can go eat any time, but Ethan's situation is different. You should have seen that place. It actually had rats. It was horrifying. I failed to understand what a 22-year-old man had to fear from a rat. Nor did I understand why Victoria was making such a big deal out of it. All I knew was that from the day Ethan Miller joined the company, Victoria's loyalty had completely shifted. It was no longer with me. I irritably took off my suit jacket. My hand brushed against the pocket and felt the anniversary gift I had prepared for her. It was a flawless, top-of-the-line emerald bracelet, a piece I had spent my entire savings to acquire. I only bought it because she once mentioned that fine gems nurture a woman, and she wanted to wear a piece just like some socialite on Fifth Avenue. I clutched the bracelet, suppressed my rage, and said calmly, "We need to talk." Before I could finish, Ethan knocked and entered the room, whining, "Sorry to interrupt, Big W, but this bathtub is so high-tech I can't figure it out. Can you help me?" Victoria immediately smiled warmly. Of course. Come on, I'll go run the bath for you." She completely forgot the conversation we were just having. My heart sank completely. There was no point in talking anymore, and there was certainly no point in giving her this bracelet. Chapter 2. The next day at work, I went to the walk-in closet to get a suit and noticed a gap in my wardrobe. While I was still puzzled, I saw Ethan Miller standing at the doorway, holding several of my suits. He said to Victoria beside him, "Big W, I don't think this is a good idea. These are Big C's clothes. They're too expensive. I can't accept them." "What's the big deal?" Victoria's voice rang out. "You're about the same build as Sincere. He has so many suits. I'm giving you a few." My heart went cold as I stared at the clothes in Ethan's hands. Among them was a black suit, one I had worn when Victoria and I first started the company. I was wearing it when I secured our first round of investment. Victoria had cried in my arms, promising to love me for the rest of her life. She had clung to this very suit. That's why I treasured it so much. But she had completely forgotten. She hadn't just forgotten the suit. She had forgotten our love. Whatever. It didn't matter anymore. When we left for the office, Victoria and I drove our separate cars. This was something we had agreed on when we started the company to keep our relationship private to avoid affecting her authority and decisions. Besides, we weren't married yet, and going public might invite unwanted speculation. She wanted to shed labels like trophy wife or dependent on a man. She wanted to grow into a power woman with a business-minded focus. I supported her in all of it, but I never imagined she would let Ethan Miller sit in her passenger seat. She had once told me that the passenger seat was for her handbag and that no one, aside from me, was ever allowed to sit there. But I never got the chance. Yet now she was making an exception for Ethan. It seemed the bond between Victoria and her childhood friend was truly deep. So deep that she would change her habits for him. And me, I should just let it go. There was nothing else I could do. At the office, I was in the control room, monitoring the self-driving operating system, terrified that a vehicle might malfunction on the road. Victoria burst in, fuming, and yelled, "Sincere Clark, get to the conference room now." I had no idea what was going on, but I followed her. As soon as I entered, I heard Ethan saying with a worried expression, "Miss White, it's really okay. I'm new, so it's only right that I learn more from Big C. It's understandable if he doesn't want to give it to me." Victoria slammed the door shut and turned on me. "Are you trying to humiliate me in front of the entire company?" I looked at her calmly and asked, "What happened?" Victoria exploded. "Yes, I promoted Ethan to CTO yesterday to oversee technology. He may be new, but he's good with the media. He's a smooth talker, not like you, who only knows how to bury his head in research. He's the CTO now. He's your superior. What right do you have to refuse to hand over the core self-driving technology to him?" I was stunned. "Do you have any idea what you're saying?" I shot back. "Victoria and I built this company together. She provided the startup capital, and I provided the technology. We founded a tech company specifically to target the massive self-driving market. After 2 years of initial R&D and 3 years of grueling work, the technology was finally mature enough to be on the road. And now she wanted me to hand over all our core secrets to a kid fresh out of college. Who in their right mind would tolerate that?" Victoria continued to rage at me. "If I promoted Ethan, it means I trust him. He'll need to be in the spotlight, building relationships with the media if they ask him a question and he knows nothing. It's my face. He'll be embarrassing Sincere Clark. Can't you think about me for once? Can't you stop being so selfish?" A joke. I was selfish? Then who was going to think about me? Ethan tugged on Victoria's sleeve. "Ms. White, don't be angry. Calm down, have some water." Instead of taking the glass, Victoria drank from it while Ethan held it for her. Then she shot me a resentful glare. My heart turned to ice. At this point, there was nothing more to say. "Victoria, think this through," I said. "You can give the core technology to Ethan, no problem. But you have to agree to 2 conditions. Victoria flew into another rage. "Who's the boss here? How dare you make demands of me?" I ignored her and stated my terms plainly. "If I transfer the technology to him, you and I are breaking up, and I am resigning from this company." Chapter 3. I don't know if it was my imagination, but after I said that, I felt like Ethan Miller couldn't suppress the smirk on his face, as if he had been waiting for me to say those exact words. While Victoria was still stunned, Ethan spoke up again. Ms. White, don't take it to heart. Big C is just saying that out of anger. Don't take him seriously. You two have such a great relationship, he would never really abandon you. He's not capable of doing something like that." A certain word seemed to snap Victoria out of it. She stared at me in disbelief. "You're going to abandon me?" I was utterly exasperated. She was the one whose heart had strayed long ago, yet somehow she was pinning the blame on me. Victoria was livid. Forgetting we were in the office, she grabbed the water glass and smashed it on the floor. "Get out," she screamed. "Get out right now, get out of my company and never let me see you again." I watched her calmly, the last ripple of emotion in my heart finally gone. Back in the control room, I packaged the core data for the self-driving technology and sent it to Victoria. Then I gathered the entire team for one last meeting. I reminded them that self-driving technology was a serious matter, directly affecting the safety of passengers. There was no room for carelessness. One of the senior tech guys who had been with me for over 3 years sensed something was off. "Boss," he asked, "why does it sound like you're giving a farewell speech?" The others burst into laughter. I couldn't blame them because that's exactly what it was, my final words before leaving. After work, I went straight home. I say home, but it was actually a spacious flat registered under Victoria's name. We weren't married, but we needed a place to live. So when the company turned its first profit, I gave her all of my technical share of the profits to buy the apartment. To show my deep and unconditional love, the deed was put in her name only. Now it felt as if I had just been borrowing the place for a few years. So be it. I started browsing for apartments on my phone, thinking I should move out as soon as possible. Even a place with rats would be better than this. Before long, Victoria came home. She walked into the room, sat down next to me looking aggrieved, and gently tugged on my sleeve. Her eyes were filled with tears, and her voice was a whisper. "Sincere, you really scared me today, Sniff. You have to apologize to me. You can't treat your wife like that." It was so rare for Victoria to act this way that I felt a momentary daze. For a second, I thought I saw the college girl who would rush into my arms for a kiss at the slightest grievance. "You didn't even try to comfort me after our fight," she continued. "Didn't you say you loved me more than anything? You let me feel sad all by myself for so long." My heart softened for a moment. Had I been too impulsive today? I began. In the next second, Victoria cut me off. "The zip file you sent me, there are a lot of parts I don't understand. Ethan tried to modify some of the programs and commands, but some complex bugs appeared. Can you teach him tomorrow, walk him through it, please?" A bucket of ice water crashed down over my head. It drenched my heart, leaving it as cold as a Siberian ice cave. I had actually hoped she might have had a change of heart. It seemed I was deluding myself. She tried to snuggle into my arms, using her charm to get me to agree to her request. I pushed her away. "Don't," I said. "We've already broken up." Victoria shot up, her expression changing in a flash. "Did I agree to break up?" she yelled, her emotions spiraling. "When did you become so autocratic? Sincere Clark, let me tell you, don't think you can act all high and mighty just because you have some R&D skills." "Okay," I nodded. "Say whatever you want." She was still furious. "If we're breaking up, it's because I don't want you anymore. I didn't want to fight. I needed some air." I opened the bedroom door and came face to face with Ethan Miller, who had been eavesdropping. He stumbled, having lost his balance. He gave an awkward smile, which quickly morphed into a look of triumph. I knew exactly what that look meant, but I wasn't playing his game. That night, I searched for apartments online and submitted my resignation through the company's internal portal. I had written the code for this portal myself. It even had a feature that let users post their mood. I idly scrolled through the feed and saw that Ethan had updated his status half an hour ago. He wrote, "I had a dream when I was a kid, and now it might have a chance to come true." It was followed by a string of glow stick emojis, and Victoria had commented below, "What dream is that?" Ethan's reply, "A dream that only you can help me achieve." I felt sick to my stomach and quickly closed the window. Chapter 4. The next day, I went to the HR department to finalize my departure, but HR informed me that Ms. White hadn't signed off on my application yet. I went to Victoria's office to find her. She was barely suppressing her anger. "All right, you've made your point. Are you really quitting? Really breaking up with me? Are you throwing away 10 years of our lives?" I nodded. The color drained from Victoria's face. "Is it because of Ethan Miller?" she said. "I've told you 100 times he's my childhood friend, a kid from next door. If I wanted to be with him, do you think you would have even had a chance with me? I think you're just being jealous and overthinking things. What's going on in that head of yours? The only reason I made him CTO is because you're tongue-tied and he's better at talking to the media. Our self-driving cars are just hitting the road. We're going to have to answer a lot of questions from the public and reporters." Just then, Ethan happened to appear at her office door. He looked downcast. "Big C, please don't be angry. There's really nothing going on between Big W and me. We're close, but it's not what you think. Our relationship is enough. I cut him off. I couldn't stand to hear another word of his two-faced garbage. Those 2 words made Ethan freeze. He looked hurt and flustered, his face turning pale. He quickly turned to Victoria. "Big W, did I say something wrong? I didn't mean to. I genuinely want you two to be happy." Seeing Ethan's pathetic act, Victoria didn't hesitate. She rounded on me, shouting, "Apologize to Ethan right now." I was floored. What had I done that required an apology? Victoria, completely irrational, grew even angrier. "Ethan has been nothing but concerned for me and respectful to you. And you constantly assume the worst of him. And now you're yelling at him. Are you going to admit you're wrong? Are you going to apologize?" I looked at her calmly. This woman I had loved for 10 years. I had imagined so many times that once our business took off, I would marry her. I would give her a grand wedding. I would make her the happiest bride in the world. My plan was to propose to her once the self-driving cars were successfully launched. I never thought it would come to this. Once again, I felt a deep, chilling disappointment. My love was apparently worthless. Seeing my silence, Victoria screamed, "Sincere Clark, you better think carefully. If you don't apologize right now, I will fire you immediately, and the patent for the self-driving technology will have nothing to do with you. You can pack your bags and get out without a single dollar." Before I could respond, another voice came from the doorway. It was Isabel Vance, from our rival company. "Wow, really?" Isabel sounded absolutely delighted. "Sincere Clark's talent is legendary in our industry. He's a tech god. And you're firing him, Miss White. That's fantastic. Come to my company, Sincere. Name your salary, name your terms." Hearing this, Victoria became even more incensed. Ethan chose this moment to casually add, "Miss Vance, what brings you here at this time? Could it be that you and Sincere were already in touch?" "Big W, don't be angry yet. Drink some water first." Fueled by Ethan's insinuation, Victoria completely lost it. "Sincere Clark, get out," she shrieked. "You're fired. Get out now." Things had reached a point of no return. I had no choice but to leave with Isabel. Just as I turned to go, one of the tech team members, Lou, ran over, looking frantic. "Ms. White, Ms. White, it's an emergency. Something's wrong. One of our self-driving cars went haywire on the road. It's swerving all over, hit 3 cars and 2 pedestrians, and now it's crashed into a highway overpass pillar. It's stalled and there's smoke coming from it." Only then did Victoria remember that Ethan had modified the car's main program. She rushed over to block my path, pleading, "Sincere, don't go. There's a bug in our program. What if the car explodes? Please, don't go." Chapter 5. After all, I had written the self-driving program for the company. Now that there was a problem, I couldn't just walk away. I knew it was because Ethan had meddled with my source code, but the priority right now was to fix the error and prevent other vehicles from crashing. Before I could say anything, Ethan spoke up. "Ms. White, what are you afraid of?" he said smugly. "I'm here. Don't forget, I also graduated with a degree in software engineering. I wrote plenty of programs during my 4 years in college." He seemed to have forgotten that it was his changes that caused the car to crash in the first place. Victoria hesitated. "But," Ethan continued to stir the pot, "isn't it obvious, Ms. White? Sincere is colluding with a rival to bring your company down. And the fact that he's so insistent on breaking up with you, don't you see what that means?" I had to admit, the man had a knack for manipulation. With just a few words, he swayed Victoria completely. She frowned. "Go, just go, the 2 of you. Get out of my sight, you despicable pair." And just like that, my chance to save the self-driving program I had worked so hard to create was gone. Right at that moment, the head of the Transportation Authority called Victoria. "Victoria White, what on earth are you people doing?" the official began. "Didn't you say it was completely safe for the road?" Victoria was anxious and obsequious. Yes, we're fixing the bug right now, sir. Don't you worry, I promise. We'll resolve the issue immediately." The voice on the other end was booming, practically roaring. "I put my neck on the line to get you approval for road tests. If you can't fix this, you can forget about self-driving cars. You'll be facing bankruptcy." I heard every word. I knew that this self-driving project was the culmination of everyone's hard work, and no one wanted to see it fail like this. But Victoria just hurried off to the control room with Ethan. Before leaving, she shot me a vicious glare and muttered, "Look at the mess you've made. You're sick." The implication was clear. It was all my fault. I shouldn't have resigned. I shouldn't have broken up with her. I was the sick one. Sigh. After they left, Isabel Vance from the rival company smiled brightly. "Mr. Clark, let's go, straight to my office. How did you know to come here?" I asked her. She seemed surprised too. "Didn't you text me and ask me to come?" "Me?" Isabel took out her phone, opened her messages, and showed me. A text message on the screen read, "Miss Vance, this is Sincere Clark from Yifan Technology. I don't think I can continue working here. Would it be possible to move to your company? If so, could you come by around 10 o'clock? I should be done with my handover to Ms. White by then." Isabel said, "When a R&D titan like you is looking to jump ship, I have to come and welcome you personally. I just didn't expect to walk into such a dramatic scene." I frowned. "I didn't send this message." "What?" Isabel was taken aback. "Then who did?" It was obvious who sent it. Who had manufactured all these perfect coincidences? Who had fanned the flames to drive me out of the company? And who was trying to make his childhood dream of being with Victoria come true? Ethan Miller, what a piece of work. He was not to be underestimated. Seeing that I didn't want to explain further, Isabel said, "Is your handover complete? Since it's come to this, just come with me to Ruikshin. We're also developing self-driving technology, and we're just missing a lead developer who can write the main program. My money was all spent on that emerald bracelet. The apartment I lived in was in Victoria's name. I had just terminated my employment contract with Yifan Technology, and I had broken up with Victoria. Looking at it that way, I really had nowhere else to go. Since Ruikshin was extending an olive branch and letting me name my own terms, it seemed my skills still had a place. As we passed the main control room for the self-driving system, the door suddenly flew open. The technicians who had worked under me for years surrounded me, all asking at once why I wasn't fixing the bug and why they were being forced to take orders from an amateur like Ethan. I couldn't find the words to explain. Isabel spoke for me. "Starting today, Mr. Clark is officially the Chief Technology Officer of Ruikshin Technology. He won't be working with you all anymore." Without a second's hesitation, the technicians shouted, "Wherever Big C goes, we go Big C. Just wait, I'm sending my resume to Ruikshin right now. Me too, count me in." At that moment, Victoria stormed out of the control room, furious. "This is a mutiny, Chapter 6. I joined Ruikshin Technology. I became the CTO of Isabel Vance's company. Here, no one interfered with my work, and there were no two-faced schemers playing mind games." 2 days later, a batch of new employees joined my team. They were the brothers who had worked on R&D with me back at Yifan Technology. That same day, I saw a news report about Yifan Technology. Their self-driving cars were causing one accident after another due to program failures. First, a car drove straight into a river, knocking a couple of fishermen into the water. Then, another car plowed into a car factory, smashing into rows of brand new vehicles. Even more seriously, one car lost control and sped towards an elementary school entrance. It was right when school was letting out, and the area was crowded with children. Fortunately, the kids were aware of safety and managed to dodge the out-of-control vehicle, so there were no fatalities. However, several children suffered scrapes and bruises. After this incident, the Transportation Authority gave Yifan Technology a final ultimatum. If they couldn't resolve these issues within a month, their license for on-road self-driving tests would be revoked. At the same time, Yifan Technology's investors caught wind of the news and descended upon Victoria, demanding an explanation. They made it clear that if the tech department wasn't led by me, Sincere Clark, they would immediately pull their funding. Suddenly, Victoria was backed into a corner. I silently closed the news website and got back to work. After work, I declined my colleagues' invitations for drinks and went back home. By home, I mean the apartment that was in Victoria's name. I had moved into the corporate housing provided by Ruikshin Technology, but all my clothes and shoes were still at Victoria's place. To save money, I planned to grab all my things while she wasn't there. I never expected to run into her right outside the Ruikshin Technology building. She was waiting by the entrance. As soon as she saw me, she said, "Sincere, you're out. I'd like to talk to you if that's okay." We had a history after all. A breakup didn't have to mean total war. Besides, I needed to get my things from her place, so I agreed to talk back there. The moment we got to the apartment, Victoria burst into tears and threw herself into my arms. She sobbed uncontrollably, her tears soaking my shirt. "Sincere, can we get back together, please? No more fighting, okay?" She wept. I didn't know whether to call her naive or foolish. After everything that had happened, she still thought we were just having a fight. "I know you're angry with me," she said. "You're just jealous. You're upset that I was nice to Ethan and neglected your feelings. But we have 10 years of history. How could you just throw it all away?" I used to hate seeing Victoria cry. Whenever she cried, my heart would break. So no matter what happened, as long as she looked at me with tears in her eyes, looking broken, I would immediately soften and admit I was wrong. I would do anything to console her, buy her gifts, tell her jokes to make her happy, like a spineless doormat. So today, as she cried her heart out, she must have thought I'd be as easy to win over as before. But I stood perfectly still, my face cold as I asked, "Are you finished?" Victoria was startled, as if she never expected such a reaction. A flicker of fear appeared in her eyes. She looked away and continued, "Sincere, why have you become like this? Didn't you say you would love me no matter what?" Of course I had loved her. In the past, I would have loved her no matter what. But that was when no fundamental principles were being violated. But now, she and Ethan Miller had ganged up on me. Was I supposed to keep loving her through that? What a joke. Besides, the only reason she was acting soft now was that her self-driving program was failing. She was terrified of losing her license, and she was scared her investors would pull out. That's why she came to me. I couldn't help but wonder, was Victoria always like this, or had she changed? Back in college, I repeatedly won gold medals in tech innovation competitions. She showed interest in me, and I was interested in her, so I pursued her. Thinking back now, maybe from the very beginning, what she liked was my technical skill, not me as a person. And once her childhood friend graduated and came along, once she thought the company's core project was mature, I became disposable, someone she could toss aside like garbage. As these thoughts crossed my mind, my heart grew even colder. I pushed her away forcefully and said icily, "We've broken up. There's nothing left to talk about. I'm just here to get my things. The apartment is yours, the company is yours, and I don't want my share of the profits." Seeing that I was about to leave, Victoria grabbed my arm in a panic, tears streaming down her face. "Darling, I was wrong. Please forgive me this once, okay? Damn it." Calling me darling was her ultimate weapon against me. Chapter 7. But she was mistaken. That was just flirtation between a young couple in college. Now, both Victoria and I were approaching 30, long past the passion of our student days. Victoria didn't understand this and still thought she had me wrapped around her finger. She looked at me with tear-filled eyes, leaned in softly, and whispered, "I know it's my fault. I shouldn't have made Ethan the CTO, and I shouldn't have fired you in a fit of anger and made things hard for you. Let's get back together, okay? I can get rid of Ethan right now. I'll do anything you ask, please." I shook my head. "Victoria, it's too late." Victoria started sobbing again. She clung to me, refusing to let go, rubbing against my arm. She was trying to use her body to win me back. Just then the front door suddenly opened. It was Ethan Miller. The moment he saw Victoria clinging to me, his pretense vanished. He dropped the act and snarled, "Sincere Clark, you plague, how dare you show your face here again? Weren't you kicked out? What are you back for? Get lost." This arrogant, inexperienced brat was truly laughable. The apartment he was standing in was bought with my money. Just because I wasn't pursuing it didn't mean I had no claim to it, but Victoria spoke before I could. She wiped her tears and said with surprising fierceness, "Ethan Miller, what are you doing here again? Didn't I tell you to move out?" Ethan's face fell. "Big W, I can't find a suitable place. I'm scared of rats, you know that. It's all because of you that Sincere and I are in this mess," Victoria raged. "Get out now and don't come to the office anymore. You're useless, just causing trouble. You can't even write a program without creating a ton of bugs. How dare you show your face here?" Seeing Victoria turn on him like that, I found her incredibly childish. Ethan, with nothing left to lose, shot back, "Big W. How can you say that? In bed you told me you were long tired of Sincere Clark and that a younger guy like me was fresh and energetic." I smacked Victoria, slapped him hard across the face. Ethan was stunned, taking a moment to recover. Terrified of what else he might say, Victoria kept screaming at him to get out. But Ethan was past caring. Why should I get out? Who was it that got drunk and threw herself at me? Who said she'd give me all her money? Who snuck into my bed while Sincere Clark was asleep? Who said Sincere and Isabel Vance were a despicable pair colluding against you? The world descended into chaos. Wow. Just wow. I had no idea Victoria had been up to so much good behind my back. I had naively thought she was just looking out for her childhood friend. I never ever imagined that her looking out for him extended all the way to her bed. I'd been cuckolded for so long without a clue. It was disgusting. I didn't want to get involved with them any further. I grabbed my luggage and tried to leave. But Victoria quickly blocked my path and, with a thud, dropped to her knees. Sincere, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong, she cried. It's all my fault. Hit me, curse me, do whatever you want, okay? Just don't leave me. Don't break up with me. I'll do anything, please. I was unmoved, my gaze growing colder by the second. The woman I had loved for 10 years had slept with another man right under my nose. Any man would be furious, would go insane. I'll kowtow to you, okay? She continued. I don't want to be apart from you. I can't live without you. Forgive me this one time. It wasn't my fault. It was all Ethan Miller's fault. Her tone suddenly shifted as she began to rage at Ethan. He seduced me otherwise. How could I have fallen for his tricks? He's just a fresh college graduate. How could he possibly handle the responsibilities of a CTO? Big W, Ethan retorted angrily. That's not what you said to me in bed. It was getting more and more outrageous, more and more disgusting. I couldn't stand being around these two any longer and didn't want to waste another breath on them. I forcefully pushed Victoria aside and strode towards the door. Finally, looking back at the utter mess and the chaotic scene, my anger boiled over. I said through gritted teeth, I'm not going to just let this go. With that, I walked out without a backward glance. Chapter 8. After returning to Ruixin Technology, I threw myself into my work like a madman. Although Ruixin was also in the self-driving business, its system was completely different from Yifan's. I had to redesign the architecture, fill in the code and details, and run tests over and over again. Fortunately, Ruixin had a solid foundation, so I didn't have to wait too long. During this time, something happened. About a month after I moved out of Victoria's place, Yifan Technology's on-road license was revoked by the Transportation Authority. This meant they could no longer develop self-driving technology, so Victoria had to fall back on her old line of internet business, hustling to make a small profit. The company's employees left one by one, and Ethan Miller was no longer the obedient boy who used to sweet-talk Victoria. I heard that during one argument, Ethan got so angry that he slapped Victoria in public, calling her a shameless wench. I felt nothing. They brought all of this upon themselves. But my revenge wasn't finished. I had written the internet program for Victoria's business, and I had left a script in the code. It was designed to require an update after a certain period, otherwise the program would corrupt itself. When I left, I had intended to teach Victoria how to maintain it, but after discovering the disgusting things she and Ethan had done, I never mentioned it, and now the time was up. Sure enough, one day, Yifan Technology's entire system crashed. Victoria and Ethan couldn't find the vulnerability. Even after hiring the best security engineers, they couldn't solve the problem. Yifan Technology went completely bankrupt. Everyone abandoned Victoria. No one saw her as the promising young CEO anymore. In addition to this, I took some time to gather all of Ethan Miller's public information online. I found a social media post he made a few years ago, gloating about a sudden windfall. Following that lead, I discovered he might have been a liaison for an overseas phishing scam. I promptly reported this information to the relevant authorities. The investigation confirmed it. Ethan had studied software engineering in college, but he had used his skills for crime, acting as a middleman for criminals to carry out scams and earning large commissions. Ethan was quickly taken in for questioning. He was over 18 when he committed those crimes, so he had to bear full criminal responsibility. After taking care of all that, I contacted Victoria one last time. By then, she had lost her company and her career. With nowhere to go, she spent her days cooped up at home, avoiding the world. I had no intention of letting her off that easily. I printed out my bank statements to prove that I had bought the apartment and demanded she return the property. Victoria looked at me with teary eyes. Sincere, if you do this, I'll have nowhere to go. That wasn't my problem. I was determined to settle the score, and I didn't care how miserable she was now. In the end, she knew she couldn't win and didn't have the cash to pay me back, so she agreed to transfer the apartment to my name. The day the paperwork was finalized, I let out a sigh of relief. 10 years of my life, a decade of love, was finally completely over. Victoria knew there was no future for us. She packed her bags and left the city, returning to her rural hometown. 6 months later, my R&D work at Ruixin Technology was a massive success. Our company seized the opportunity and became the undisputed leader in the self-driving field. The self-driving vehicles saved enormous labor costs since they didn't require drivers, allowing us to offer very affordable prices to passengers. As a result, Ruixin Technology went from a little-known startup to a renowned rising star in the industry, and for my contributions to the research and development, the company awarded me a bonus in the high seven figures. On the night of the celebration banquet, I saw a familiar face at the hotel entrance. It was Victoria. She was wearing a white dress, her face pale and calm. As I walked towards her, silent tears streamed down her face. "Sincere," she said, "can we really not go back?" I didn't even look at her as I walked past. "I only made the kind of mistake any woman would make," she continued. "Why can't I be given a chance to be forgiven?" I found that laughable and was about to argue with her about whether cheating could ever be forgiven. But someone tugged on the sleeve of my suit. It was Isabel Vance. She smiled at me gently and pretended to be annoyed. "I'm standing right here and you're looking at another woman? Didn't we agree that I could pursue you and you would think about it?" My heart instantly softened. "So," I said, "no need to think anymore. Starting now, you're my girlfriend." It wasn't to spite Victoria. She wasn't worth it. It was just that after spending the last 6 months with Isabel, I realized how rare it was to find a girlfriend whose values aligned so perfectly with mine. Hearing my words, Isabel's face lit up with joy. "Then let's go inside, boyfriend," she said. "All right, girlfriend," I replied. The end.